Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, a place for insightful conversations about building sustainable schools of excellence. Join me each week as we explore the importance of leading with your values, creating impact, and leaving a lasting legacy. My goal on the show is to provide you with clarity, elevate your mindset, and equip you with practical strategies and inspiration. I'm Chanie Wilschanski, a proud mother of four, a former New Yorker, now savoring sunny Florida vibes. With a professional journey spanning 18 years across all levels of school leadership, I bring nuanced insight that delve into the intricate details of running a center, as well as the broader visionary aspects of leadership. Thank you for joining me for this conversation. Let's build a legacy of excellence together. I'd love to kick us off with what was going on in your center when you first heard about Schools of Excellence, first time you kind of engaged with our company. Take us back to that time.
We were in a place where we were moving our group childcare to a center and trying to understand all the dynamics and what everybody's jobs are supposed to be. And really just me feeling like I need to do all the things. And I remember right before I met you that I had been hanging out at home. It was a weekend and I was just checked out from my family and everything, and just kind of feeling the overwhelm. Then I decided I needed to get away and meet some other people that did childcare. So I went away and met some people, and I met you, and then found out about Schools of Excellence. And I was just really intrigued with the whole idea of understanding that there was a certain way that I needed to run my business and my life. And I couldn't just let things happen to me. I needed to say, this is what I'm going to do. And so I just started listening to your podcasts and trying to learn as much as I could. And then I decided to reach out to you all and join the owners group.
One of the things that you mentioned here, which I want to go down deeper into, is you shared there's a specific way of how to run my business and run my life. And I think a lot of times when people join a coaching program or a conference or an event or really anything, they are joining for the business acumen or the business advisory or the consulting. But clearly this was a very different experience for you, where it was also a lot about your life and your personal life and the way that the two worlds integrated with each other. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So I really appreciate the way you speak about how we have a season in our life and recognizing where my season of life is. And so I have to come back to the table and be this is my season of life right now. I need to be okay with going a little slower or be okay with doing a little less, because I'm going to be at this for a long time. And it's okay to get the small things done and make sure that I'm not missing my kid's life. And so that touched me, because I felt like I have to give up one or the other. But I don't have to. I can have both, and I can be happy with both. So, yeah.
What season of life are you in right now, if you can share with the people that are listening?
I'm in a season of life where I have one young child who's 2 and a child who's 11 who thinks she's 20. And so I feel like we're in the season of life of raising our kids and also running a business. So it's this place that I want to be in, but it's definitely they clash, running a business and having kids, and you have to learn how to do both of them together well.
One of the things you had shared was you felt that you had to make a binary choice. Either I was going to focus and build my business, or I was going to raise my family. And through being inside of the program, you've recognized that you don't have to choose. You can do both. You can integrate it. So I'd love if you can speak to the mindset shifts, the practical stuff. Like, how did you slowly begin to actually not just believe this, but internalize this in your day to day?
It started with me understanding that I am in charge of my life and I need to run my calendar appropriately. And so learning how to time block and being able to say, this particular day I'm working on this task and this particular day is this task, has changed for me. And it's not a perfect system. Like, I have to give myself grace, but also like realize that I'm building these boundaries and it takes a while. But for the most part, I'm like, okay, this is when you do this, and this is when you do that. Yeah. And it's okay to wait to respond to a family because you're on vacation. And it's okay to pay bills on Tuesday when you're supposed to be paying bills and not trying to do it every single day of the week.
Yeah. I love that. There are so many shifts that you've made, even just in prioritizing dates with your daughter or time together, or going out for coffee. How have you seen a shift in your own parenting of your older daughter through your journey inside of Schools of Excellence?
You know, I am learning that I have to prioritize my time with both of my kids. And so with my older daughter, like saying, hey, we're going to plan something that's just you and me, and we're going to go do it. And she and it makes our time way more, like our time spent together, way more valuable. And she feels like she's not being neglected. And I love that, because I don't want her to ever feel neglected.
Yeah. I love that. And I, you know, we talk a lot about legacy in Schools of Excellence. We talk a lot about what it means to build legacy businesses. And I always say, like, we only get one shot at raising our kids. We have decades and decades to build our businesses after our kids move out and all of that. And like, life is challenging in that way, where if we believe that we only have a short window of time to build our businesses and we have a short window of time to raise our kids, they conflict with one another. But if we learn how to play the decades game, then we learn how to set big, ambitious goals for our companies. It's not that, you know, people who are parents have less ambition. We're going about building our lives very differently. So let's go into a little bit more of some of the systems that you've built inside of your center through working with Schools of Excellence. So I know you spoke about, you know, your time and your calendar, which is, of course, in our foundations, one of our foundational things that we teach inside of the program. How has the relationship with your staff shifted, and what have been some of the systems that you've implemented?
This part is ever changing. I feel like I'm in seasons where it's great and things are really good. And then there's times where I'm like, okay, we need to back up and work on this part again. But one of the things that I've implemented is doing our gratitude system and really getting that time to observe and be authentic, watching my staff work so that they know that I see them and that I appreciate what they're doing. That one has been a big shift for me. And then also thinking outside of the box when it comes to what are things that maybe some of my staff want to take on that would benefit our business and help them grow too. And I never really thought about that before, like saying, okay, this teacher is doing a great job at teaching. Maybe she can also be effective as a teaching coach for new staff coming in. And I feel like that is something I took from you all, because you're like, so maybe you don't have the money to build or to hire a completely brand new person to be your teaching coach. maybe there's somebody in your program who can do this.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things that I've been trying to work on. And I have to keep reminding myself, these are things that we are building, and nothing happens overnight, but I know that it's going to turn into very positive things for us.
I'm so glad you spoke to this piece here, because I find so many leaders get so stuck in the I don't have money trap, and that's why I can't go do certain things. And then that leads to a lot of just very little self-efficacy, agency in your life, a lot of victim thinking around, well, I don't have it as good as everyone else, so that's why I can't do these things. And I love that you actually use the constraints of like, okay, well, I don't have money to go do this. What am I going to go do instead? I'd love if you could speak to the freedom and the liberation that really gives the mind and the heart and the school when you don't get trapped in one resource, money. There's so many other kinds of resources.
Yes. It actually is very freeing for me to know that I don't have to be the one that does it all, and there's other ways to accomplish the same goal. So I keep that in mind, and I have to keep telling myself over and over again, like, we're 30 days from now, we're going to see a difference because we made this change right now.
Yes.
And we're going to come back and we're going to look at it 30 days from now and say, how's it look now? And do we need to make another shift? And keep making those little shifts and until you find what you need. And so, I think it's completely freeing. I know that my stress level right now is not the same as it was last year, because my mindset is different and I can look at things in a different mentality, knowing that it's going to, I just need to do the little things one at a time and they're going to pay off.
Yeah. When I talk to clients on the phone, like, in the right fit call, where they're like, is this the right program for me? I don't know if I could join. It's so much time. It's so much money. I often speak to stress levels, and I ask, the owner, like, what are your stress levels right now? And it's so difficult for people on that side of the journey to be like, how is this program really going to reduce my stress levels? Like, how is that? It's so unfathomable to them. So can you either tell us a specific story or like speak to when you say my stress levels are less, how so?
It doesn't take away the stress. It teaches us how to handle the stress appropriately, and being able to come into the mindset, like regulating yourself so that you can help regulate your staff. And when you're in those moments where you're thinking, you have to learn how to make those mindset changes where if something stressful or negative is happening, you can step aside and basically take a minute and say, this is not really what's going on here, and we're going to get through it and bring the positive out of something. I feel like that has been a huge thing for me, is just the mindset that you talk about, Connie, about saying, like, there's people who say they've failed and then they just give up. And then there's people that are like, no, I didn't fail. I learned 1,000 ways not to do something, and I'm still moving forward. And like, we're not giving up. We're learning how to move forward. And so that's what I say, like, my mindset has changed drastically on that. And I'm trying to help my staff see that mindset too, because this business is not a business that is for the weak, I guess you would say. Like, we really need to be able to train hard, because it's hard. It's hard to run a childcare. It's hard to work with all of your staff members, but it's the way we look at it. And being able to give that difference to our teachers is huge, because if I'm stressed out, my teachers are stressed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they're stressed out, their kids are stressed out. So I'm bringing healthiness to myself, which is hopefully bringing healthiness to everybody else here.
It absolutely is. Like, that's the ripple effect right there, right? Because it starts with you. You had said, you know, it doesn't take away the stress. It gives me the tools on how to navigate the stress better.
Yes.
A lot of the mindset I felt when you and I, you know, when you first joined the program and we were in conversation, there was a little bit of a belief structure around things should be easier for me. It should be easier at this point. I've worked so hard. Why are things still so hard? Why is it so hard, period? I had a conversation with my son yesterday. He was, you know, going through a challenge, and I was like, what do you really want? He's like, what I really just want everything to be easier. And I was like, no, you don't, son. No, you don't. Not in my house. But slowly, through, you know, the coaching programs, through the relationships, through a lot, and I want you to speak to, like, what are some of the specific channels, your entire perspective shifted of, like, not praying for things to be easier, but actually, like, what are the tools to help me navigate this better? How do I do this in a more regulated way? How do I do this in a more calm state of mind? So can you speak to how you really did this? Because I think people just want to know how do you really shift that?
I have to take time for myself and take and constantly come back to our coaching calls and different things that are helping me connect with other people that are in similar situations, because that community, like, it changes when you realize you're not the only one in this same boat. And learning when you need to reach out to the people that are around you that God has placed in your life to be that support. And you may not want to sit down and say, hey, this is a really hard thing right now. But reaching out to those people, like, they are there for us. And being able to support them. And so I think my window of friends got really small last year. And
why is that?
I think I was kind of overly stressed and in a place where I couldn't, like, really feel like I could be around other people. And now I sit here going, Friday night is our family night where we have friends over, where we honestly, genuinely enjoy each other's company and share a meal together, and where we're doing things that are, because those things, they matter. They really do matter to the rest of my business, like, in my life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't just live in this, like, stressed space of, oh, all these things are happening, you know, so...
I love this so much, Stacey. So it's so interesting because I know that I can, like, almost envision the people that are, like, driving their cars right now or doing dishes or listening to this and thinking, like, okay, what's going to be the magical thing that Stacey's going to share? Like, what's the tactic? What's the strategy? And you're like, taking time for myself, having a Friday night dinner, like, meeting with friends and family, like, not just living in this ecosystem. And that is exactly where it's at. It's not more tactics. It's not more strategy. It's not hustling more or doing more. It's exactly what you did, which is making your friend circle smaller, doing less, honoring what really fuels your soul. So I love that. I love that you bet on yourself to go and try those things and actually were able to see the impact of it. When you look at, you know, I love, you know, your stress levels have gotten better, your time management has gotten better. Talk to us a little bit about your culture, what it looked like when you first joined the company, and where you're seeing the evolution of your culture today.
I think that culture is one of those things that has been, I've talked about a lot for the past year, but I feel a little bit like we're on the tip of the iceberg of trying to break through something. And I have teachers that have been with me for a long time, and then teachers that are brand new, and trying to find the balance where everybody's together. That has been something that I have been struggling with and trying to work on. And so interesting to say, like, I was gone last week and we had a staff meeting, and in Stacy's past life, I would have been like, well, we can't have staff meeting because I'm out of town. But I told all my teachers, and I prepared for them a staff meeting thing. And I said, here's the staff meeting. I want you to go through these things, and I want the staff meeting to still happen. And when I came back, like, they said the staff meeting went great. They went through that material, and I consider that a win, because... Are you
kidding me? That's a huge win.
Yeah, I would not have done that like a year or so ago. Staff meetings were really hard for us for a while there, because it was like, well, this person can't be there and this person can't be there. And my mindset is now, first Thursday of the month, this is when our staff meeting is. And that's when it is. Now, Stacy's not there. It's still that day, and it's still that time. And so I'm trying to bring us together on that. And culture is happening, but it's a slow process for us.
Yeah. I so appreciate your honesty also in just recognizing, okay, where are the wins? Like, my mindset has shifted in that I don't feel like I have to be every single place every single time. Like, if my family's away or I can't be there, staff meetings still happen without me. I'm not bound to the business. But also just recognizing and the awareness of, like, okay, my culture is not yet where I want it to be. And there's more work that I have to do, and that's okay. Like, we're not, like, in our journey of life, we're not looking, we shouldn't be constantly seeking that every bucket of our school should be improving all the time. Like, it's such an unrealistic expectation of our own lives, right? Like, okay, we're moving the needle on this bucket. We moved the needle on this bucket. This thing has gotten better. And this one, you know what? It's not plugging along yet. Like, do we want to start dedicating more energy here? Do we want to start putting more time and focus here? So I appreciate that honesty.
Thank you.
Talk to us about your experience working with the mentor coachings with Michelina, just the whole coaching experience part of the program. Because, I often talk about our program is really divided into three parts. There's content, coaching, and community. And the community piece, I know you spoke to a little bit, which is, it's fantastic for you. How have you seen the coaching really impact your decision making, the quality of decisions you make, your conversations? I'm curious the impact that it's had.
The coaching has been a good thing for me. Talking to Michelina, there's been times where I've had serious things that I need to go through with somebody, and she has sat down with me and said, okay, what about this? And she's opened the door for my mind to think in a different direction. I know I had to have a hard staff conversation a couple months ago, and I was really dreading that conversation. And after having talked to Michelina, I did have the conversation, and I went through it, and things improved. And we had, I've had numerous occasions where I've been in a situation where I'm like, I need to sit and talk to Michelina about this. And we've gotten on a call, and she's been able to say, okay, like, what do you need to do here? And most of the time, interesting to say, like, I know the answer, but it's something I'm struggling with.
Yes.
And so, like, Michelina, by me listening and talking with her, I am given the confidence to make the decision I need to make. Yeah.
So that's really what coaching is. And this is, how I train, Mick and our success coaches, in that the person who's bringing the question knows what they need to do. It's the space for them to process through it, the clarity remove all the ambiguity and roadblocks and sit and offer other insights and perspectives. And now the person leaves not just with your advice, but they leave with the sturdiness, the self-trust, and the confidence to go execute. And to me, that's really the magic of coaching and the mastery that should be happening on a coaching call. So I love that you experienced that. Let's dive into a little bit of you spoke a lot about how your mindset shifted as a leader. Is there any other areas where you've seen the kind of progress or different mile markers of your own leadership inside of the center?
I want to say that it's really different when you start out being one of the teachers, and basically you're the owner, but you're also working alongside all of your other teachers, and there's 3 or 4 of you, and now there's 14 staff members, and I have to constantly remind myself that I'm trying to step into the CEO role, but in a way that feels not just confident, but friendly, and I need to know when is the time for me to step forward, because they need my leadership. And I think that has changed over the last year. And I've been able to say things that I didn't have the confidence to say a year ago. And being able to just step forward and be gracious with my staff, and learn how to just be the CEO of my business. That has taken some work, but I know that your CEO challenge that you did a couple months ago, that really kind of hit home for me. I'm like, you need to do this more. Have a CEO day where you are working on the things that you want to accomplish, and it's okay to take that day and do that. So,
yeah. I have so many other things I'd love to chat with you about, but I have two final questions here. What would you say, been the most surprising thing for being part of the Schools of Excellence journey? We come in with certain expectations of I really hope that I can learn this inside of the program. I hope that, Schools of Excellence helps me do this and this. And, the program has really supported and helped you hit a lot of your goals. What has surprised you?
The way I am able to show up for my family and for my husband. And that wasn't something that was really on my radar last year. He has a business too. And so talking to him about this is how you work your calendar. And this is something that would be really helpful for your everyday, because he's had the same things where there's so much going on and I'm so overwhelmed. And I constantly take stuff back. And there's been times where we'll listen to a podcast of yours together, and he'll be like, wow, that was a really good teaching. So just being able to share that with my husband has been really good.
Oh, I love that. I love that you guys listen to that together. I appreciate that. So for the person who's listening, for all the leaders that are listening, many times we hear something over and over and over again, and yet we are fearful of making the leap. We still feel like it's not the right time. I don't have the money. It's not the right season. I can't figure this out. Is this really going to help me? Is it going to give me the ROI that I'm looking for? For all the people that are listening that are hesitant to make the leap to join Schools of Excellence, what is your message to them?
My message would be that my message would be that taking this time for yourself is going to open so many doors and give you freedom that you haven't known before. And if you can find the way to make the investment in yourself, you will never, ever regret that. And I will keep working on investing in myself because it makes a difference in my business. So
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you.
If you are loving the Schools of Excellence podcast and have gotten any value out of it for your school and for yourself, I would love if you can do two things for me. One, subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And two, can you please leave us a review? Reviews help other school leaders know that this is the podcast to learn about building a school of excellence. And I'd be so grateful if you can do that for us. Your help and support make this show be able to listen to by thousands of other school leaders around the globe. Thanks so much for listening and giving us your time and attention each week.